As the sun rose in Rome on Holy Thursday, a city waited with anticipation as the Catholic Church began celebrating her three most sacred days, the Easter Triduum. For Pope Leo XIV, this was historic, as he presided over his first Easter Triduum since his election as the successor of Peter. In 3 days filled with meaning and tradition, Catholics in Rome kept watch with their new shepherd, as they remembered the last moments of Jesus Christ's life. It all began on Holy Thursday. That morning, Pope Leo celebrated the Mass of Chrism at St. Peter's Basilica with the priests of Rome. In an atmosphere of joy, Pope Leo and his priests entered into the mystery of the priesthood, loudly reaffirming their yes, the same yes they had made when they were ordained priests.
Would
you like to renew the vows you once made before your bishop and the holy people of God?
St. Peter's Basilica was also filled with the scent of new holy oils to be blessed by the Bishop of Rome. Blessing the oil of the sick, the oil of catechumens, and the holy chrism, the Holy Father invoked the power of Christ on the oils to be used throughout the year for sacraments and healing.
In quest'ora oscura della storia è piaciuto a Dio inviarci a diffondere il profumo di Cristo.
In this dark hour of history, it has pleased God to send us to spread the fragrance of Christ where the stench of death reigns. Let us renew our yes to this mission that calls for unity and brings peace. Yes, we are here. Let us overcome the sense of powerlessness and fear. We proclaim your death, O Lord, and we proclaim your resurrection as we await your coming.
Proclamiamo la tua risurrezione nell'attesa della tua venuta.
That Thursday evening, returning to papal tradition, Pope Leo celebrated the Mass of the Lord's Supper at the Archbasilica of St. John Lateran. This was the first time in 12 years that a pontiff had celebrated the special Mass there, after Pope Francis had done so only once in 2013. During the rite of the mandatum, the washing of feet, Pope Leo returned to the custom of washing the feet of priests, a poignant contrast to Pope Francis, who often preferred to wash the feet of prisoners and migrants.
Impariamo da Gesù.
Let us then learn from Jesus this reciprocal service. He does not ask us to repay him, but to share his gift among ourselves. You also ought to wash one another's feet. As Pope Francis once remarked, this is a duty which comes from my heart. I love it. I love this, and I love to do it, because that is what the Lord has taught me to do. He was not speaking of an abstract imperative, nor of a formal and empty command, but expressing his heartfelt obedience to the charity of Christ, which is both the source and the model of our own charity. Indeed, the example given by Jesus cannot be imitated out of convenience, reluctance, or hypocrisy, but only out of love.
Ma solo per amore.
After the Eucharistic celebration, the Pope carried the Eucharist amidst the adoring faithful to the altar of repose. The churches of Rome would also perform the ceremony, allowing the faithful to keep watch with him, as Christ encouraged his apostles to do in Gethsemane. Hundreds of pilgrims in Rome visited churches on Holy Thursday to pray before these special side altars, where the Blessed Sacrament was held in repose for adoration until midnight. Several pilgrims described their experience as a profound connection with the Church's teachings. They also noted the presence of many young people who had come from all over the world to participate.
Ha sido impresionante, la verdad. La iglesia es súper bonita.
The ceremony and the church were so beautiful. It helped me to pray and to realize that this is the night it all begins. In a sense, Jesus has already been captured, and the next day he will be crucified.
E eu fiquei completamente encantada com a experiência.
I am completely enchanted by the experience that the Church teaches us. Witnessing the faith of the youth is something very impressive that inspires me a lot.
Many pilgrims to Rome on Holy Thursday participated in the ceremony for the first time. Several of them described it as an experience rooted in tradition and beauty, and a different experience from their own countries.
This was my first time, yeah. We actually just got into Rome this morning and were able to get involved with the traditions. It was really a beautiful ceremony. It was great. The altars are just beautiful, and it's a really great experience.
It was lovely to see the church so full, absolutely packed, and all the young seminarians. It was a true testimony to our faith.
On Good Friday, the Pope returned to St. Peter's Basilica to celebrate the Liturgy of the Passion of the Lord. Lying prostrate on the floor and adoring the cross, the Holy Father led the faithful in remembering the sacrifice of Christ. Following tradition, the papal preacher delivered the homily during the Liturgy of the Passion of the Lord. He underlined that Christ's sacrifice calls us to live for others.
Il male continua a circolare perché trova sempre qualcuno disposto a restituirlo e a moltiplicarlo.
Evil continues to circulate because it always finds someone willing to return it and multiply it. Jesus broke this chain not by imposing himself with superior force, but by accepting what happened to him and recognizing in those dramatic events of his passion the score of the songs of love and service that the Father had entrusted to his life. He did not perform this score mechanically. He made it his own, translating the prophetic words into concrete gestures, into forgiveness, into silences filled with compassion. Thus, walking the way of the cross, he learned the most difficult obedience, that of love for the other, even when the other appears as an enemy.
Anche quando l'altro si presenta come un nemico.
Later that evening, the Pope led the Stations of the Cross at the Colosseum. It was the first time a Pope had carried the cross for the full 14 stations since John Paul II in 1994. In this way, the Pontiff and the people of Rome imitated Christ on his way to Golgotha. On Holy Thursday and Good Friday, the Pope and the people of Rome both kept watch with Christ and followed him to the cross. For the faithful, it was a participation in the mystery of the Passion through prayerful reflection and a shared journey in tradition with their new shepherd.